My name is Reva Hendrickson Golden. My first name I was named after a lady that took care of my mother when she had my sister Ora. And she liked her so well that's why she named me Reva. I was born in Santaquin, Utah, uh, September 10th, 1925. I have two sisters and one brother. My older sister's name was Sarah Marie, and my younger sister's name was Ora Elaine, and my brother's name was Ira Ward. My father's name was August Moroni Hendrickson, and my mother's name was Jenny Johnson Hendrickson. But anyway, I decided I wanted to fly, so I made these great big cardboard wings, great big ones. And it was a very windy March day, so I climbed up on the chicken coop, put my arms in the wings, and started flapping really fast, and the wind caught me and carried me and the cardboard wings clear down to the end of our yard and dumped me right in the biggest burr patch you ever saw. I had burrs in my hair, all over my clothes, everywhere. I was a mess. My mother was very upset. Well, on Saturdays they had a serial of Tarzan every week. Every time we'd go to a movie, you could see a little short about Tarzan. So I went home. My girlfriend Grace Marie, who lived just 2 or 3 doors away from me, we decided that we would make swings. So we had an apple orchard, and the trees were evenly spaced. So we tied ropes on from one tree and then ropes on the other tree, and we could swing from one tree and catch the rope from the other. And we did that until one day I did it and the rope broke and I lit right on my chin, my face, and my poor mother. That was the end of our Tarzan experience. Couldn't do that. When I was young, I don't remember exactly how old, I was in a hurry. I must have been in Mutual, which is Young Women's now. And I was hurrying. I had to feed the pig, and it was a great big pig. And I took the food over the slop, and the pig just kept jumping up, and I couldn't empty the bucket that I had. So I picked up a board and hit him right behind the ear, and it killed him. But when I was working at Kmart, then I mentioned the story, and so pigs became famous to me. So every birthday, I had a big collection of everything from pillboxes to mechanical pigs that the people at Kmart gave to me after that. At one meeting, especially, they gave me my first bronze pig. It was a little one, and they put it in a little like a dish that you put hot dogs in, little cardboard with its feet in the air, and they played that death march, and they said, the boss said, "Dearly beloved, we're gathered together this morning in memory of a dead pig." And then they gave me this pig that they came in with the pig with its feet in the air. And then I got one that snorted and walked across the floor, so I got all kinds of pigs from everybody because of that one story. My favorite thing to do is to go to theme parks and ride roller coasters. I love roller coasters. They used to have an old wooden one that went out. It was called the Pike at Long Beach, California, and it was rickety sounding, and it'd go way out over the ocean and then back in on land. And every time we'd go to California, I'd have to go ride that I'd ride it at least 2 or 3 times before we left the park. And then, of course, I loved to ride all the rides at Disneyland. And my last favorite, I've ridden all of them here in Las Vegas, but I haven't ridden the one at the Stratosphere because it kept breaking down. But the one I love the most is out at Primm, and it's out at Wild Bill, out at Primm. And it is really fun. You go out and then it goes high and then you drop down, and that's my favorite one. It's a rough one, but I love those things. But I can't do roller coasters anymore because I've lost the calcium crystals in my ear, and the ear specialist said no more roller coasters. and I hate that because I love to ride them. I went down, took Andrew, my grandson, down, well, took Dallas down, and I had to ride it twice before we could leave. And I think his friends were all disgusted with me because I had to go twice. I didn't, once wasn't enough. Then I took Andrew down one time, and every time I go out there, somebody'd come up to me and say, "Do you know you're standing in the roller coaster line?" Like they think I'm going to die on it, I guess. But anyway, we rode the roller coaster, and then we went out and we're going to ride the shot, and nobody was getting on it. So Andrew and I got on, and we rode the shot, and when we came down, why, everybody started going out, and I told Andrew, I said, well, it didn't kill the old lady or the kids, so now they're going to ride it. But I love to ride them. My husband's name was Don Carl Golden, and I had just turned 16 when I met him. And we didn't, I just met him, we didn't date. It was a couple of weeks later before we ever had a date. But I met him and then went to a Halloween party, and he was there. And he had said he came to Santa Quin to meet me, but because his sister's name was Reva, so he was curious. His friends were dating my girlfriends, and we went to this Halloween party and he was there, but I didn't pay much attention to him. And so then the following Friday, he came to school with a big box of chocolates and asked me to go out with him. He said, I had totally ignored him before, but he said he'd like me at least to go at least one date with him, so I accepted, and that's how we met. And we were married January the 18th, 1944 in the Salt Lake Temple. Don had came home on furlough. We had gotten engaged in March before when he left in the service. And he came home on furlough, and his sister and her husband were going to the Salt Lake Temple to be, they were going to be endowed then. And so they asked us they said, why don't we make it a double wedding and you guys go with us and get married now? And so we looked at each other and said, well, why not? Because we planned to get married anyway. So we went and we got married at the same time as they did. My older son's name is Jason Carl Golden, and he was born April 23rd, 1947 in Payson, Utah. So when they brought him in to me, the lady had 3 babies. She had one on each arm and one in the middle she was carrying in to show us, because after the other gals had delivered. And I told her, she said, I'll have to lay him down so I can give you a lay. I said, that middle one is mine. And she said, how do you know? You didn't even get to see your baby hardly. And I said, well, if that baby isn't mine, my husband's in big trouble. So she laid him down and looked at the tag, and sure enough, that was mine. And so she asked the other 2 if they knew. They didn't have a clue which one was theirs, but I knew immediately that Jason, that was my baby. And Dennis is my second son, and he was born his name was Dennis Ray Golden, and he was born this July 2nd, 1950 in Payson Hospital. And Dennis had this long hair, and but the nurse came in and she said, would you mind if I braided your baby's hair? And I said, no, do you think it's long enough? And she said, yeah, I think it is. It's long enough. So when she brought him in, he had little tiny braids with pink bows on the bottom. His braids were about this long. And she took him to everybody in the hospital to see that baby's hair that long. And when Don came, it was after visiting hours, and they told him he could come in and see me. But when he walked down the nursery and saw Dennis laying there with braids and pink bows on, the pink bows was more than he could handle. So he came in and he said, our baby's they've got pink bows in that baby's hair. And I said, I know, isn't it cute that it can be braided? No, it's not cute. So the next day I was released from the hospital. He came in and gave Dennis a haircut when he was 6 days old. He got his first haircut. When my boys were, I don't know how old they were, but they were teasing me unmercifully. And Jason said to Dennis, okay, is today the day? And Dennis says, yeah. And they picked me up and set me on the counter, and they said, "See, Mom, we're bigger than you are now, so we just want you to know we're bigger than you are. We can handle you." And they were teasing. They weren't mad or anything. They were teasing because but I said I learned my boys were bigger than I thought they were when they picked me up and put me on the cupboard. I think the most that I tried to teach my children was to be honest and try to be dependable. I think honesty was one of the most important things that I try to teach my children, to be honest. You want them to be good, sturdy, strong men and dependable, and I learned to take care of themselves. And just having the boys was my proudest moment when they were born. And my proudest moment was whenever they'd achieve something. Of course, I was always proud of the things that they achieved and that they did, but I think the most proud I've ever been is the days that they were born. They were just exactly what I expected and what I wanted. I'm really proud of all of my grandchildren, every one of them. I'm so glad that they're my grandchildren. The thing I regret is I haven't been able to spend as much time with my grandchildren as I'd like, being so far away. You only got to see them on visits, and so I've missed a lot of the things that I would really like to have been able to participate in or to see. But I've loved every minute when they came to visit. They've just been really fun. I'm so grateful for all of my grandkids and the fun that I've had with them, and I admire every one of them and love them so much. And I admire my sons, and I especially admire their wives too, because I love their wives, and I love my grandsons in-law and my granddaughter-in-law. And especially love my little great-grandchildren. I want them to know that I'm so grateful to have them in my life that I'm going to cry. I don't want to do that. But it's been wonderful the joys that I've had with all of my family. And I can't imagine anybody going through life and not having a family. I also am very grateful for for my step-grandchildren and great-grandchildren, because they have a special place in my heart also, and I'm very grateful to have them in my life. Well, I do want to say that how proud I am of all of my family, every one of them. I'm proud of the lives that they're living and the things that they're doing, and I'm especially proud of my boys for the men that they've turned out to be. I'm grateful to be their mother, and I'm grateful to still be alive to see all my family. I guess when you get old, you start to think, it's not too long before you're going to be gone, and every visit that you have or every phone call, it means so much to you. And it does to me, I know, because that's a part of my life. It's just the interaction that I have with my family. And I want to tell them all to do their very best in whatever they do. If you give it your all, then you've got it made. And did I tell them I loved them? I want my grandchildren and my great-grandchildren and my children to know that I have a strong testimony of this gospel. That I have had, it has been my life, and I know that it's true. I know that our church is true, and I know that the Savior lives, and our Heavenly Father lives, and I know that He hears and answers prayers, because since Don died, I've totally had to rely on the Lord and His blessing, so I know that it's true. And I want them to know that it's true. And the more I'm around other people and other religions, it makes my testimony even stronger. And I know that President Hinckley is our prophet, and I know that Joseph Smith was a prophet, and the more I've studied and read, it just makes it even more true that I know it's true. And I'm so grateful that I've been born and raised in the church, and that I've had the church to rely on, because it's been part of my life, a big part of my life, because all the positions that I've held and what have you in the church, everything from Cub Scouting to the higher positions I've held in the church has been, and I just know that it's right, and I'm grateful that I've been a member. Maybe not as good as I should have been all the time, but and I'm so grateful. And every time that I go to the temple, it makes me even more grateful that I'm a member of the church.